Okay, so I just finished watching The Box on demand. You know, the box. No, it's not the Hellraiser box, but it might as well be the Hellraiser box. I was talking to my wife exactly how I could describe what this movie's about without either A, confusing everybody watching this, and B, giving away large plot points. So, if you see the trailer, essentially a guy who they don't show part of his face, I'll just give this away, he's burned. You know, you'll find that out roughly in the first. Really didn't want to give that much away. In fact, even saying that the guy's burned might actually be slightly too much information. There's a lot of bizarre things that go on in this movie, and almost everything you see happen more than once. You know, those are things you should actually kind of try to watch. So the basis of it's 1976. And these people get the doorbell rung at like 5:45 in the morning. I remember that because they show the clock as it's clicking through, and they go downstairs and there's a box left for them, and inside the brown box is another box. 5 o'clock, the guy shows up and he's like, here's the deal. You push the button, two things happen. Someone dies, you don't know this person. Someone dies, and you get $1 million. Here's $100, just because you live inside your house. They get the money tested and it's real. This is in 1976, so $1 million then was a ton of money. Ton of money. Now, of course, the premise is you push the button, someone you don't know dies. The only people you don't know on the planet. They do a small back and forth that's like, what if it's someone's kid? What if it's a murderer? What if it's people across the street? It's someone you don't know. Do you actually know lots of people? And, a lot of it is based on that. If you flip it, there are lots of people who don't know you. If you were to pick somebody at random, I'll just say even in the city you currently live, and they were to have a box, if they were to push, they get $1 million. Someone they don't know dies. That person they don't know, that could be you. You get the box. Someone you don't know is going to die if you push the button. That's about as far as I can really go, because if I just describe, what happens if the button is pushed, well, you don't have 24 hours. I'm probably going to end the spoiler-free portion here, and then I can actually explain more of the movie. So, all I can say is Cameron Diaz, write this time down. She actually acts fairly well in this movie. This is probably one of her best acting roles. Which isn't saying much, but it's one of her better acting roles. Same with James Marsden. And the people who are like the teenagers, all the young people put in beautiful performances. So it is worth seeing because it is a very unique story. And that's it for the spoiler-free portion. So if you don't want to hear, plot points, now is when you could stop watching. I'll give you time. Now it's time for some of the spoilers. I mentioned that the person delivering the box is burned. They always leave that out in the commercial. They just show like the section of his face missing. So that's not a huge spoiler. However, he was hit by a bolt of lightning during the Viking experiment, which is where they sent a probe to Mars. So you're probably thinking, what happens when you push the button? Well, a random person dies, someone you don't know. However, the box actually is tied into the last person to use the box. Because you don't know the last person to use the box. When they use it, and because he goes, oh, by the way, this box goes to somebody you don't know. Therefore, predicating the idea that the person who's going to die is the person who pushed the button. However, you die because someone you don't know will more than likely push the button. based upon the idea of it is essentially it's kind of like an alien race checking to see if humanity has any sort of altruism. Because the box is always good to people who are below 40 and happen to have a single child. So it's a married couple with a single child. Ironically, the woman always pushed the box. I asked my wife about that, and she actually mentioned that might harken back to Adam and Eve. You know, women being, I'll put this in quotes so no one blasts me for us being the weaker sex. Which actually makes a lot of sense. You know, I also look at it from how much can I say in a non-spoiler interview without really giving a lot of it away. So essentially, the person who delivers the box is a vessel / avatar for a race that's going to speed up the annihilation of people on Earth if lots of people push the button. You're probably thinking, okay, well, how does the next person pushing the button kill the person who previously pushed the button? I know that sounds really complicated. The reason why they picked people who have kids is what happens is your child is kidnapped, something is done to your kid, and it's irreversible by current technological standings. Your child will be deaf and blind unless the husband shoots the wife in the heart. Once the wife's soul leaves her body, the child will be, essentially healed. Now, the time the husband pulls the trigger normally links up with the time someone else pushes the button. So the first time they push the button is at 4:45 p.m. Again, these seem like really extraneous data points, but when you hear it later on, somebody ends up killing their wife at the exact time someone else pushes the button, because the wife is the one who pushes the button. And does it really give you a clear definition of are more people pushing the button or not? There's one scene where they do mention, lots of people are pushing the button. Lots of people are actually willing to kill someone they don't know for $1 million. So it has a bit of a moral tale going in there, as well as a bizarre, creepy, supernatural, hour-and-a-half long, almost 2 hour long, Alfred Hitchcock feeling to it. So I've given away lots of the major plot points, so now if you actually were to watch it now, if you haven't already seen it, lots of things might click a lot faster. They might either fall into one of two categories. I think either A, it's a brilliant movie, or 2, it's a horrible, incoherent movie. It's hard to tell because it's one of those movies where you have to wrap your mind all the way around it, and it's very bizarre, off the wall, and confusing. But like I said, it's hard to tell if it's either a beautiful, brilliant movie, or it's just one of the craziest things you're ever going to see.